Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alista Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Gavv, episode 22. It happened, guys. The bromance has returned. Our beloved couple has returned just in time for Valentine's Day. And my God, I honestly thought that the coming back together moment would happen much later in the season, but they figured, well, let's get this over with because you have Bizarro running amok. So let's get this over with and then move forward. But me personally, I thought that Hanto will still be angry to the point where he becomes a problem. And then someone or something will knock some sense into Hanto, making him realize that you're in the wrong and that sort of thing. But ultimately, we got to see the scene that we all been waiting for, which, I will explain once we get to the scene. But for right now, let's start with Akira walking into the parking lot like a boss. And he's just, breaking into this one-sided fight between Bizarro and Hanto, and Bizarro was like, what the hell, like, who the hell are you, and starts to attack Akira. And Akira was having a much easier time defeating Bizarro because remember, Bizarro is still adjusting to his new body. He is adjusting to his new strength and power because he is right now struggling to lift up his own sword, which gave Akira the advantage, which, by the way, it just goes to show how Hanto really needs to step up his game. Like, I'm so tired of so many L's, but Jesus, man. Like, Akira can easily defeat a Bizarro or a half-strength Bizarro with one arm behind his back. But in any case, but he's suffering from Spanneritis, so yeah, I can forgive him. I believe that creative, like there's like a reason to the madness, a reason for the L's. But okay, apparently he cannot win without Shoma to be by his side. Apparently, anyways, so Akira uses his jelly form. And he was about to defeat the evil Bizarro. But then all of a sudden, Hanto, of all people, decides to stop Akira and just like, what the hell are you doing, Akira? I thought he was your partner. And Bizarro's like, okay, this is time for me to, make my slippery escape. Which, by the way he climbed over the fence like that... Oh, that was creative. That's something I never seen before, because the way he just climbs over the fence and he just like falls on his back. Like, we don't actually see it, but he just falls on his back and just goes away. And they both demorph, and Hanto's like, what are you doing? I thought Shoma was your new partner. Like, what's going on? And Akira was like, wait, that's Shoma? Really? And Hanto was confused, like, what's going on? Like, why are you laughing? And Akira just became all savage towards Hanto and tells Hanto, like, wait a minute. Didn't you said that you were trying to kill all Gainyuts, including Shoma? I was about to kill him. Why did you stop me? Which leads Hanto to be all speechless all of a sudden, and Akira just leaves him all speechless. And by the end of it, Hanto's like, oh, man, I'm just confused. This is confusing. So as Akira leaves a confused Hanto, which, by the way, in the entire episode up until the confession, he's fighting within himself. He's all confused. He doesn't know what to believe anymore. He's really like, I want to believe Shoma, but I can't because look at the pictures and all that. And he's a Ganyut. He's evil. Ganyuts are evil. Yeah. That's what Hanto has in his brain. So Shoma wakes up and he sees Uncle Dente, and apparently, according to his great uncle, he had a stomach ache. Apparently, there were a bunch of cachizos in his stomach, and he pretty much cured him, and we get to see the macaroon cachizo. And then Shoma tells his uncle that Hanto knows everything, that I'm a Ganyut and also a member of the stomach family, and also, of all the stress that he's been dealing with since. And then it causes Shoma to ask, okay, wait a minute, how did I get here? And we get this funny scene with Dente, dressed in a suit, mask on and hat. And we get to see the cachizos all around Shoma. And this is where Dente picks up his nephew and just walks away past a group of people, which I think they were drunk. And Shoma was in shock, like, you seriously went to the city like that? And Dente's like, no. Like, I don't need a human disguise. I'm a master of disguise, so I'm okay. You're okay. And then, it leads to, Shoma, like, quickly asking for his phone, and he goes through the post and sees a lot of posts and pictures of himself with the crazy eyes and beating up people and destroying restaurants. And Shoma's like, what the hell? Who the hell is this? And at the same time, we have Sachika at her office doing the same thing, and she is in disbelief of what she is looking at. So we get to the opening, after the opening credits, where Hanto returns to the office, but instead of, like being have you seen Shoma? Has he returned yet? Blah, blah, blah. Sachika's like, I ain't talking to you. You're out of this office. She just pushes him across the room and just throws it, just pushes him out the door and Hanto was like, what the hell? I didn't tell you to kick me out. Like, what's going on? And Sachika was all pissed off at Hanto because you're the one who took Shoma's ability to tell me the truth away. What? Because he's a Ganyu? Because I told you that he's a Ganyu? Like, yes. You took that away from him. And not only that, she refused to believe that the same kid that's on the photo and the kid that has been living in her office for so long are the same person. She refuses to believe that. So until she gets an explanation from Shoma, I'm not going to believe a damn thing from those posts or those pictures, which causes Hanto to really be like, oh man. And so he just runs away like a schoolgirl. Sachika just opens the door and sees Hanto like gone. And then we see Hanto once again in confusion. He doesn't know what to believe anymore. Like, he wants to believe in Shoma, but he is really fighting within himself. Like, he doesn't know what to believe. Akira actually knows, because he notices that Shoma's Gavv is black, and Shoma, that he knows, is red. So he automatically knows that the rider that he fought was not Shoma, but just an evil twin, a lookalike, a doppelganger. And he believes that Nyelv could be the one behind that, but he doesn't know how to reach him because, remember, he got fired. So he figured the next best thing is to talk to Dr. Nick. So we go to the next scene. And speaking of Dr. Nick, we don't see him in this scene, but we see Bizarro shacking up in the offices of Dr. Nick. He is eating everything in sight, like hot wings, like buffalo wings to something else. Like, it was chicken and whatever boxes. And Bizarro's like, yeah, I know, I need to stop eating, but, if I eat, maybe I get a new cachizo and all that. But, when it comes to food, he just eats and eats. And bless that evil clone's heart, because he's not getting fat. So as Maybe I should name him now Hungry Hungry Bizarro, because every time there's food, he ends up eating it right away. So after Hungry Hungry Bizarro, we get Shoma, our good twin. He returns to the scene of the crime. Well, not really. And he sees the mini store that Bizarro trashed and beat up this poor elderly shop owner. And he notices these two people taking pictures and videotaping, and he realizes that he cannot be out of the open like that because Bizarro, Hungry Hungry Bizarro, is using his face. So he wears a hoodie and he just walks away. He goes into a tunnel, and he was thinking about calling Hanto, but he just like, I can't call Hanto because he must be mad at me still. Because he figured, well, I can't move around in the city anymore. So he figured, okay, maybe call Hanto and do the legwork for him. But he can't. And as he was about to put his phone away, guess who calls? Sachika. So he answers the phone, and Sachika is acting like a worried mom, wondering where he's at and and whatnot. But in this scene though, I gotta get credit, man. This scene with Sachika, like, man, she's one of the kind. I wish there was more of her in the real world, but nah. But she was like, look, there is a lookalike going around trashing places, eating and running away, beating up people, and this lookalike looks exactly like you. Please be very careful, and also try not to get arrested, please. And at the end of the conversation, she said, look, if there's something you need to tell me, I'm here to listen, okay? Just come back home. And that gave Shoma just an ease of his stress. So after the thank you, like, I wish Shoma was crying in this episode because he's been through a lot, and to have people like Sachika, being open-minded and willing to listen is just, wow. It would bring a tear into someone's eyes. But it gave the light at the end of the tunnel. At the end of the tunnel for Shoma, and it just gave him more determination to return. And he runs with a mission now. So as he was running, we get Hungry Hungry Bizarro, and he stops a food truck and decides to munch on whatever it was behind the truck. And mind you, he was in his suit, so he was eating through his suit. So we get back to Shoma again. He goes back to the incident with the udon cart that's all destroyed. And then we go to the tunnel scene with the truck and all that. And then we get to see Hanto. And Hanto was like, look, I'm relieved that it wasn't you. And then Shoma immediately just bows and apologizes to Hanto for not telling him the truth right away. And typical Hanto was like, I apologize for punching you in the face last week, He's acting all cool and just like, I know I did something wrong, but I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna act cool about it. And I have to say, Hanto, don't ever change. Don't ever change. So that leads to the scene that everybody that it leads to the scene where everybody has been waiting for, which is Shoma pretty much telling Hanto his origin story and whatnot. There were only 3 things I didn't like about that scene. For one thing, I didn't like where it was shot at. I just didn't like the whole extras being there. I thought it was distracting. I would much rather prefer them have them in a more private area rather than inside of a building with a bunch of people. And I would have preferred Sachika's office because at least that way, if Sachika was there, Shoma would confess to not just Hanto but also Sachika. But I don't know if Shoma is willing to tell Sachika that I am a Kamen Rider. But in either way, I mean, it's fine. But the third thing that I wish they could have done is waited until Valentine's Day and just be like, have Sachika and Hanto there. Shoma is telling his story, and then afterwards, Hanto apologizes and they get back together again, and Sachika will be like, it was the power of Valentine's Day that brought you guys together again, and does all the lovey-dovey thing, and then Hanto just stares Sachika in the face and be like, what are you implying, Sachika? What are you implying? And then he turns back to Shoma and be like, oh no, hell no. Hell no, that's not, no. Because let's face it, guys, remember the first time they met in their rider forms. They were acting all cool and tough towards each other, but in the inside, they were all like, oh, I'm gonna take a dump in my pants. Like, they were scared and nervous and giving those weird, awful looks. So can you imagine if they did that instead? I mean, it's just the relationship, the way that started, and it makes sense to continue with the awkwardness of it all. Just have Sachika assuming that they're boyfriends and all that stuff, and Hanto is trying to explain, no, that's not the case at all, and Shoma is completely oblivious to what's going on and what she's assuming as, that sort of thing. But anyways, Shoma confessed that the reason why he didn't tell Hanto or anybody else the truth is because he was very scared, which causes Hanto to realize that, oh, I think the reason why is because of me. And he realizes that he effed up. He effed up. Or if he wouldn't go on a rant about Anyuts, then he would have received the truth a whole lot better and earlier. But now he realizes that, yeah, I effed up. And also tells Shoma, look, the reason why I joined you is because you were an ally for humanity. You were doing heroic things, and I wanted to be a part of that and help you. And I know that the reason why you didn't tell me earlier is because I was being stupid. And I let my revenge and my hatred, just made you scared of me, and I do apologize for that, and I hope you forgive me. And he bows. And it's something that Shoma was really surprised that he was apologizing. And he even said at the end of it, look, I trusted you before, assuming that you were a human, but from now on, like, I will trust you because you are you. And he does the punch thing to the chest, and Shoma's like, thank you, and we don't see a hug and a kiss at all. We don't get a hug or a kiss, but they made up. And you see the Cachizos just dancing and happy that those two are back together just in time for Valentine's Day. But it's regardless of what I just said, it needed to happen, and it was going to happen either way. It's just that I thought that it would be a little bit later, but it happened, and I'm sure a lot of people are happy that Hanto and Shoma are back together, and that the coast is clear now. But it just brings my theory of Hanto and Shoma being half siblings closer to coming true, because once we get closer to the ending of this episode, Shoma tells Hanto, I know I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I want to explain about my theory becoming true, is that Shoma met Hanto's mother in the Ganyu world, and she was helping him trying to find his mom. So I don't know, guys, I'm getting this feeling that we're gonna get a twist later in the season, and I'll explain further, but I assume you guys already know what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna say it anyway later. Anyways, so our beloved bromance, our couple, are back together before Valentine's Day. The Cachizos are having a field day. We get to hungry Bizarro. He breaks into a warehouse or a storehouse, and he beats up people, and he munches on the boxes. That there were snacks in the boxes, and one of them was candy. And luckily for him, he gets a new Cachizo, and he's like, "Ooh, a new power! I will eat some more to unlock more power." Nom, 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 nom. And then all of a sudden, our newly formed, our beloved couple has returned. And somehow, some way, they discovered where to find hungry Bizarro. I think the Cachizos. Anyways, it's a 30-minute show, so I mean, yeah. Anyways, so our couple storms into the storehouse, and we get to see, Shoma and Bizarro having this stare down, and Hanto asks for a name. But hungry Bizarro was about to say something about a name, but he was like, "Well, I don't really have a name actually, but I will call myself Bitter Gavv, the world's ultimate specialman." Yeah, fed by Dr. Nick. So after the introduction, we get to see the fight between Bitter Gavv and Hanto and Shoma in the storehouse. And as they were fighting in the storehouse, we get to Dr. Nick. He's cleaning up after his creation, and he was about to throw away his garbage until Lakita enters in, and stupidly, Dr. Nick decides to hide the evidence underneath a see-through table. Yep. For those who've seen the episode, watch it back. As Dr. Nick was about to take out the trash, he sees Lakita, and he just decides to hide the garbage underneath the table that didn't have any wood. Like, it was a see-through table. Like, you could have just, walked around and just slid the garbage in your other desk, but you didn't, stupidly. And Lakita was asking Dr. Nick if he has heard anything from Nyelv. And Dr. Nick said, well, you only have a one-sided relationship. He comes in or calls whenever he feels like it. So I don't know a damn thing. I don't know how to reach him. And he assumes automatically did you betray him for some reason? And Lakita admits, yeah, I backstabbed in the back. I see. Which leads to Lakita asking the question as to why you, a human, are allied with, the stomach company. And this is where we get a serious Dr. Nick, as if, look, I'm not friends with them. I owe no allegiance to anybody, just to myself. I'm just a man of science. That's it. And Lakita was giving that look like, you're right. You're a man of science, but you're hiding something from me. Like, I know you're hiding something from me, so I don't believe a damn word you just said. Before I move on, guys, this is something I wish the writers would add in one of their scripts, because we all know that eventually we will get the confrontation between Dr. Nick, Hanto, Shoma. If you want to add Lakita as well, you want to go ahead. But eventually we will have that confrontation where Hanto demands answers from Dr. Nick as to why are you working with Nyelv? Why did you create Bizarro? Why? And ultimately the excuse would be, well, I'm a man of science. I love science so much. It's just for the name of science. And at the end of the line, he would say, I want him to say, I am the science. Just, come on, writers, give me what I want. Just have Dr. Nick say, I am the science. Do it. Please, I beg of you. And then have Nyelv just jump out of nowhere and be like, wait a minute, you call yourself the science? I'm the science. Oh, it's so funny. I'm like, who's the science around here? But come on, Gavv Creative, make it happen. Have Dr. Nick say, I am the science. That's what I want. So as Nikita is doing those eyes, like that look on his eyes, like, I don't believe a word you said, Dr. Nick. And we go to the fight. And you can tell in the fight between Hungry Bizarro, Hanto, and Shoma, it's completely one-sided because, sure, the heroes have the advantage numbers-wise. Bizarro has power on his side because if you've noticed, Bizarro has gotten stronger. And he has become, and his fights are more vicious than ever. Like his fights are like full of hatred and all that stuff. It's just like, it's vicious. It's like Bizarro is a beast. He's a wild beast that cannot be controlled. So yeah, so he, to the point where Hungry Bizarro steals one of Shoma's gummy cachizos, used it on his sword, and he turned his sword into a whip. And the boys realize, hey, we cannot beat this guy. So how are we going to do this? Hanto suggested that let us combine our strength, and maybe, just maybe, that could stop him. So the boys turn into their other forms, Hanto to his donut form, and Shoma with his cake form. And for a moment, they brought Hungry Bizarro down. And a Hungry Bizarro was like, oh, wow, your cachizos has gotten you so much strength. And hopefully I get the same strength. But for right now, this power that I have, this strength that I have is too perfect. It's perfect enough to take both of you down. So he ends up unleashing his final attack while Shoma and Hanto turn to their chocolate form and their lollipop form. And together they unleash their final attack. But ultimately, Hungry Bizarro took the blunt of the blast because two blasts trying to counter one blast with one of your own, it's not going to work. So not only he got his blast back, like his final attack blasted back at him, he also received Hanto's and Shoma's final attacks. So it looked like it's the end of Bizarro. It appears, but no, I don't think so. We haven't seen the last of Hungry Bizarro. So after the assuming death of the evil clone, the blast knocked Shoma over the railing, almost going into a river, but luckily Hanto saves him, grabs him by the hand, and just, pushes him over the railing, and he's safe. However, during his whole dangling outside of the railing, we get to see another memory unlocked, where we get to see mini Shoma with Hanto's mother trying to help find the mom, while we get a new piece of memory where somehow Hanto's mother is being pushed into a body full of water. And that's it. And so the end of this scene, the end of the episode, is where Shoma tells Hanto that I think I have met your mother in the Ganyu world. And that's the end. That's the shocker, guys. So yeah, another great episode. Like I said before, our beloved couple are back together again, if only in a scene, well, in a place where it's more private, no people around, and I wish Sachika was there. Bizarro is getting hungrier and more brutal than ever, and Lakita is having his suspicions towards Dr. Nick. And I'm just happy that Hanto realizes that, hey, I did wrong and I do apologize for what I said about Gainyuts that caused you to not tell me the truth. So for now on, I trust you for you. I thought that scene was wonderful. So I want to end this with this. Like I mentioned before, I feel that my theory of Hanto and Shoma being half siblings is coming closer to fruition, and I would be surprised if the writers will be like, let's do like a shocker, like a twist. Can you imagine if the woman Shoma thought was his mother was not his mother at all? It was just a random stranger. Can you imagine that Hanto's mother was actually Shoma's mother as well? Because that's the only explanation, unless in the future it's going to be, well, Shoma tried to escape his father or tried to escape from his siblings, and he got lost and he stumbled across Hanto's mother, and together they try to find her, that sort of thing. That could be that too, but I don't know. Like, in your opinion, do you want Hanto and Shoma to be blood related? For me, like, it doesn't matter, because to me they're already brothers, blood or without blood. But I just get this feeling that my theory may come into fruition with that twist, but you never know. It's too early. And then I have another theory, like I mentioned before, with Hungry Bizarro, because eventually the Stomach family will get the news that Shoma, air quotes, is pretty much running amok, and realizes that maybe, just maybe, this is not our run of a brother. It could be something like a clone or something. And they will decide to bring him in, maybe try to control him. And the twist would be that Hungry Bizarro may destroy the Stomach family from within. But because Bizarro right now, he's a beast. How can you control a wild animal? Like, I don't think he can be controlled. Right now, he's being controlled by Dr. Nick because he doesn't know what to do. He's in an unknown world, and he's trying to figure out, okay, if I eat this, can I get a cachizo? And that sort of thing. He's trying to figure things out. But I wouldn't be surprised that he could backstab Dr. Nick in the back. I wouldn't be surprised. I just think that Bizarro, he cannot be controlled, and ultimately he has to be stopped. And Shoma, I'm surprised that Shoma really didn't reach out to this kid that looks like him and be like, look, you look exactly like me. I mean, you're right now, it's causing chaos. Can I just help you? I can help you, I can just help you, right? But I'm sure Bizarro's going to reject his help and be like, no, I'm all about eating and power and nobody controls me, that sort of thing. But I don't know, guys. Do you want Hungry Bizarro to be the final boss? You want him to be the final boss, or ultimately you think it's going to be Lago? I don't know. But yeah, it would be a nice twist if, for one, Hanto's mother is also Shoma's mother. And another twist would be the Stomach family trying to control a beast, but ends up getting backstabbed, and also Dr. Nick getting backstabbed because you can't control a wild animal. Yeah, but that's the thing. Any case, another great episode. I'm happy that Hanto and Shoma are back together, and now it's Sachika's turn to listen into Shoma's story, and then bring in Nikita, which, by the way, it's going to be very awkward between him and Hanto, because you know what he said last week, that he is a liability. I mean, I can't work with a guy like that, but ultimately they will gain the other's respect. It's going to be rough in the next couple of episodes. But yeah, other than that, we haven't seen the last of Hungry Bizarro. So yeah, so I will see you in the next episode, the Valentine's Day edition of Kamen Rider Gavv. And please, have you seen the episode? And if so, Give me your thoughts and your opinions about the episode. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did I miss anything? Because even though I have my notes in front of me, I may have missed a couple of things. Please give a like if you like it, and please subscribe because it really helps. And I'll see you all on Valentine's Day, guys. Johnny!